Hi. So today we have completed the predefined exceptions. So today we are continuing with the user-defined exceptions. So actually for the usage of these exceptions, we are using the SQL code and SQL error. Generally, what we are call them as error trapping functions. Actually, these two SQL code and SQL error we call it as a error trapping functions. So in the SQL code, it returns the error number associated with the most recently raised exception. You cannot call this function inside a SQL statement. So SQL ERM or DBMS utility form utility dot format stack is the by using this you will get the SQL ERM or DBMS utility dot format error stack. So using this you will get the error message. It returns the error number with error message. So you cannot call the SQL error inside a SQL statement. Now we are going to use this SQL error code. So if you see this, declare A number, B number, C number. So LV underscore error message where cut of 4000. Assignment operator null. For this variable, we are assigning the null initially. So LV underscore error code number null value we are assigning initially. So begin A assignment operator 40, B assignment operator 60, C assignment operator A plus B I am taking. So here what will happen? 40 plus 60 it is coming three-digit number, that is instead of the 100. So if you 100 will try to store in this, but here the size is 2 only. That means it will not store this output of this A plus B. So then it will go into the exception when others, so it is giving you the LV underscore error message, assignment operator LV underscore error message concatenate SQL ERRM, and here SQL code I am taking. So DBMS output potential clean of error code is under error message. What I am doing, instead of printing directly here using the DBMS output of SQL code and SQL ERRM, I am taking this error value into one variable and error code into another variable. So what will happen? Now what are the error I am getting, that will be stored into this local variable and is printing using this dbm auto output statement here. So you can directly print also using this error. But what will happen is, suppose if the program contains 2-3 errors, then it will not store the entire errors. So last, what are the latest DML operation is there, that only it will store in this SQL code and SQL error. To capture all the errors in the program, then you can use the variables, and in these variables you can assign the error messages. So using the SQL error message will be stored in this LV underscore error message and LV underscore error code in the another variable here. Then declare X number, Y number, Z number. Begin X assignment operator, X, Y assignment operator, Y. So Z is equals to X by Y. DBMS is output underscore line of Z. Exception when others than SQL code and SQL ARM. So here values it will ask you to how to input the numbers for the X and Y. So X I am assigning 300. If I use 300 and Y, I can say 350. So then here clear this one. X by Y I am taking here. So X value 300, Y value 350, and Z is equals to X by Y. That means 300 by 350. That is 1 it is giving. Suppose if the same execution, and here if you say 400 and Y, it will be 200, or you can say 20. Then I'm getting 20 here. Suppose I am passing the null value. Then here procedure successfully completed, but here I am not getting any value here. For the X value, suppose I am passing A, Y value I am passing B. Then it is getting numeric or value error, character to be to number conversion error. So for the same program, I am using different inputs. So then based on that, it is giving different output here. So declare V underscore salary number begin select salary into V underscore salary from EMP where employee number is equals to 7369. So for this record, so it will print the salary only here. If you print DBMS V underscore salary, so whatever the salary it is picking for this employee, that it is going to print. After that, SQL code and SQL error value it is going to print. Okay, this is the salary 800, and after that SQL code 0 it is printing. From SQL error message successful completion. Okay, here it is messaging normal and successful completion. So in the last line, what is the message? Salary concatenate SQL code concatenate SQL error. So here salary 800 and SQL code 0, SQL ARM, or happen 0000 and normal successful completion. Okay. So another program is completed successfully, you'll get this message or hyphen 0000 normal successfully completion. So these are the these two are called as error trapping functions. So user defined exceptions means here when predefined exceptions not meeting our requirement, then we define our own exception. So we can also create our own exception names and also raise whenever it is necessary. These type of exceptions are called user defined exceptions. So this is divided into 3 types. Okay. So for the user defined exceptions, we have to divide it into 3 types, that is declare exception and raise exception, and one more is handle exception. So we have to declare the exception in the declare section and raise exception in the executable section or in the exception section, and handle exception, that is also in the executable section. How to handle the user defined exception. So declare exception means it is in declare section of the PLSQL program, we are defining our own exception name using the exception type. So syntax is for the user defined exception name and exception. Okay. We declare in this declare a exception. So syntax for this declare exception is in the declare section. So user defined name and it is a exception we are saying. So how will you call this exception is using the rise exception. So rise user defined exception name, or you can simply rise a. Okay, either way you can call this. This is the rise user defined exception name here. Yeah, it is there, so that rise a. Suppose you are executing this, declare a exception begin rise a. So what it will do? Simply it will execute the program and it will terminate off. Why? Because we are calling the exception rise exception. So it will unhandled user defined exception. So whenever you are defining any user defined exception, for that handlers must be defined. Okay, that means what we have to do when this exception is called, that we have to mention, that is called as the handle expression exception. Okay, so whenever you are using the user defined exception, you have to handle this exception. How to handle, we have to mention in this code. That means when user defined exception name, then statements. When user defined exception name to, then some of the statement. So when others, then some other statements. So like this one, user defined exception name, then statement. Some of the statements you have to mention. When other user defined exception name to, then statement. Some of the statements. When others, then some statements. In the exception, we have to consider like this. So one more example I'll give you with this. So if you see here in the declare section, I am declaring the variables and exception here. So ABC, number type we are defining, and E is the exception, that is user defined exception defining here. Okay. So begin A assignment operator colon A, B assignment operator colon B. If B is equals to 1, then rise E. We are saying that we are calling the rise exception here, rise E. And if C assignment operator A by B, DPMS output put underscore line of C. Exception, when 0 divide, then DPMS output second number not be 0. Okay, up to this is the handling. Okay, but coming to here, when when we are defining our own exception, so here we have to write that what we have to do with this user defined exception when this is called. So when then DBMS output underscore line of user exception we are mentioning. And when others, then the output others concatenate of SQL error. So here if you see this is the handling the exception. So that means when then what we have to do? Simply we are using this DBMS output statement. You can have some other options also if you want. You can mention extra statements also here. So here the exception name E, and we are rising rise E, and calling the user defined exception here. Okay, the exception. So this is coming. Suppose here 0 divisor is coming. So for that we are using the 0 divide exception here. C assignment operator A by B. When 0 divide, then it is second number not be 0. So if we execute this one, we'll give the A value 15 and B value if I am giving 0. So that means A by B means that is 0 divisor, second number not be 0. Suppose if I am giving A value 15, B value 3, then output is 5, it is coming. Okay. So that means when based on the input values, whether the output is correctly coming or not, we have to verify. So here we are using and we are passing the A value and B value. Based on that, I am getting the 5 here. Suppose I am inputting any other number. A value, A I am assigning, and B value, B assigning. Then what will happen to the program? It is giving you the failure numerical value error, character to number conversion error. Okay. So here declare V underscore salary number E exception. We are defining the E as a user defined exception. Begin select salary into V underscore salary from EMP1, where employee number is equals to colon employee number. DBMS output underscore of before update salary V underscore salary. If V underscore salary greater than 2000, then rise E. Else update EMP1 set salary is equals to V underscore salary plus 100, where employee number is equals to colon employee number. Again after update, again where select salary into V underscore salary from EMP1, where employee number is equals to colon employee number. Means before updating and or after updating, we are fetching the salary into this variable and printing here. Okay, before update salary we are printing, and after update salary also we are printing here. Exception, employee does not eligible for commission. So SQL code and SQL URL we are mentioning. So when it is coming, so in the exception part, when E, then is the employee does not eligible for commission message will displayed here. So in the exceptions, what exception I have taken here? That is user defined exception. So in this, I am not using the when others section here. So employee number 7566 I am giving. Then it is printing employee updated salary before update salary. This one employee does not eligible for commission. Okay. That is user defined exception we are printing here. If you see in this, where and all we are using the DBMS output. First is employee does not eligible for commission, that is printed. Before that, salary. Here if you see the salary printed is before update salary. Before update salary, this much. Employee not eligible for the commission is coming here. So declare I EMP percentage, EMP1 percentage, row type. Salary underscore missing, exception we are taking. LV underscore salary number is the exception we are taking. Salary missing is the exception we are taking. And begin select employee number, employee name, salary into LV I dot employee number, I dot ename, I dot salary from EMP1, where employee number is equals to colon P underscore employee number. If I dot salary is null, then rise salary missing. Else I dot salary is equals to I dot salary plus I dot salary into 0.25. End it. Update EMP1, set salary is equals to I dot salary where employee number is equals to I dot employee number. DBMS output, employee details are I dot ename I dot salary we are printing. Exception when no data found. Okay. So exception what we are giving when no data found. That means the if the employee number does not exist, then it will comes to the this exception when no data found, and it will print the DBMS output. Employee number does not exist. When salary missing, so we are calling this exception. When salary missing, what to do? That is, then we have to update TMP1 set salary is equals to 3000, where employee number is equals to I dot employee number. And DBMS output, the employee is not having the salary, so give the salaries as 3000. This is the message we are printing here. So simply we are taking this variable, and in this variables I am assigning the employee details using this P underscore employee number. So where is the P underscore employee number? So we have to pass the values here. That is colon P underscore employee number. So suppose if I pass 7482, employee number does not exist. 7654. So employee details are Martin 1562. Okay. So what we are printing here, employee details are I name, I dot ename, I dot salary we are printing. Martin 1562.5. Okay. If you see, this is the Martin 1562. So if I give 7844, so 7844 means Turner 1500 is there. So then 1875, it is updated to 1875. You can check this table. Okay. Suppose the employee number I am giving, so then employee number does not exist. So how we are getting this? Using this exception only. So using the when others exception, we are getting this error message. Next we have this keyword rise application error. So if you want to display your own user defined exception number and exception message, then we can use the rise application error. So normally whenever you are executing any getting any error, so you are getting some exception number along with that exception message. So here if you see this employee number does not exist, it is printing. Okay. So instead of that, if you use this exception when others unknown error we are saying here. Okay. So when no data found, so what message it is going to display here? Employee number does not exist, we are displaying. Instead of that, suppose if you use the DBMS output SQL ARM line in that also. So here, if I'm going to here use this, now when no data found, then DBMS output employee number does not exist and also printing the error message. So it is printing here. What is the error message here? If you see, error message is worry-014 03, no data found. So this is the error number which is defined by the Oracle. Okay, so that predefined number also we can change up to or based on our requirement. For that we have to use the RISE application error. So if you want to display your own user-defined exception number and exception message, then we can use this RISE application error. So how to use this RISE application error means RISE application error and with this error number and error message. So on this error number you have to use between the minus 20,000 to minus 20,999. In between numbers only you have to use for your error numbers. Okay, and error message is it is used to give the message up to 512 characters. Okay. So suppose here declare X number, Y number, Z number, EX exception. We are using the EX as an exception name. Begin X assignment operator X, Y assignment operator Y. If Y is equals to 0, then rise EX. Else Z assignment operator X by Y. That means this value, if the Y value is 0, then we are raising the exception here. And else Z assignment operator X by Y. DBMS output Z value we are printing. Exception when EX then rise application error minus 20,457. Second number not be 0. This is the message we are going to display in the exception part. Okay, X value I am giving 20, Y value 3 I am giving. So then it is giving you the 6.666 like that. So same if I give Y value 0. So then it is giving you the rise exception error minus 20,457 second number not be 0. This is our own error number and error message we are displaying. Okay. So here in the how we are using this, so we are defining the exception EX here. In the exception section, when X, then when EX, then rise application error we are calling here. Along with the rise application error, we are mentioning the error number and error message. Our own error number and our message. So declare LV underscore as number assignment operator as begin. If LV underscore is less than 18, then rise application error minus 20,001. He is not eligible for vote. So we are verifying this condition using this condition verification. If the condition is true, if age is less than 18, then this condition is true, then we are executing calling this rise application error. Else, we are going to print he is eligible for vote. And if exception on others, so then DBMS output error message is SQL error. Suppose if I am giving 17 years, then error message is ORA hyphen 200 20,001 here. Whatever the message we are mentioned here, this number. He is not eligible for vote. Okay. So using the exception, our own user defined exception, we are giving the one error number and error message also. So declare A exception begin rise A. So we are defining an exception name with A and we are immediately calling in the executable section that is rise A. In the exception section, when A, what we have to do, that we have to mention here. Rise application error minus 20,001. Rise application error is filed. Okay. If you want, you can use this DBMS output also. Exception is filed. Begin when executing one of the following. Where it is? Line number 3 error exception. Okay, missing this one column. Okay. Okay. So here when you use this exception, error report, rise application error is filed at line number 7. So line number 7 means here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the line number 7. So we are declaring the exception. Immediately in the executable section, we are calling the that rise application error. So then it is giving you the error message and error number is the whatever the user defined message and the number is there, that is displaying here. Okay. Then we have this one more example, that is declare v underscore salary number z exception begin select salary into v underscore salary from EMP where employee number is equal to 7902. If v underscore salary greater than 2000, then rise z. Else update EMP set salary is equals to v underscore salary plus 100 where employee number is equal to 7902. So I don't want to use the EMP table, I will use EMP1 table here. Okay. And if exception, it also will take the EMP1. Okay. Exception and Z, then rise application error minus 20150 salary already high. Okay. So that means salary greater than 2000 is there, so that it is printing salary already high. So next we have the pragma exception in it. In Oracle, if you want to handle other than Oracle predefined exception named errors, then we must use the unnamed exception method. Okay. So if you want to handle other than Oracle predefined exception named errors, then we must use the unnamed exception method. In this method, we must create a user-defined exception and associate this exception name along with the some error number by using the pragma exception init method. So this method is having the two arguments are one is pragma exception init, user defined exception name, error number. This way how to define. So for this, I'm giving you one example here. Declare X exception. We are defining as a user defined exception X. Pragma exception init X comma minus 2291. So begin insert into EMP table employee number,